Warning for any Lindisfarne monks, the following video may contain scenes of a sensitive nature. We'll try and show a bit of respect, but frankly, the recent details for Assassin's Creed Valhalla have merely confirmed what we all knew in our hearts. Vikings are pretty damn awesome. Long before any official announcement, it was one of the worst kept secrets that Ubisoft's next stop on their bloody historical tour would be the age of the Norsemen, or Norse women. And now we've seen more than 3 seconds of gameplay, there's actually quite a lot to get excited about. No, seriously, there is! Look! Yes, we all know that a franchise now into its 13th year can easily leave you feeling, well, disenfranchised, but the series has enjoyed a recent resurgence with Origins and Odyssey, so have hope, for the promised land of Valhalla awaits. The recent Ubisoft Forward event, along with hands-on media previews, have shed plenty of light on this Dark Age epic, from the androgynous head Viking EIVOR to the settlement system and the fittingly brutal combat. And yes, the hidden blade is back too, although it's not exactly well hidden anymore. Let's jump headfirst into this hay bale of information, shall we? I'm Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 things you didn't know about Assassin's Creed Valhalla so far. Number 10. The combat. Let's get straight into one of the biggest aspects of Vikingness: how well you can chop someone's head off. Firstly, combat in Valhalla is a refined version of the recent titles. No reinventing the wheel here, but it does look and feel much more brutal, possessing a heftier weight than the dance-like duels of Odyssey. You can still pull off some quick dodges when needed, mind, not to mention a couple of surprising acrobatics. Look at the vertical leap on this fella! You can dual-wield any combination of weapons, including Viking harpoons, throwing axes, flails, polearms, and yes, you can even rock 2 shields for those ultimate pro strats. Each weapon has 2 different movesets, depending on whether you equip them in your main or offhand, and there looks to be a quick switch between hands too. Your attack patterns change again if you equip 2 of the same type of weapon, parries are available with any weapon too, and you can cancel attacks with a dodge mid-combo to avoid being exposed after a long attack animation. Dodging uses stamina, as does heavy attacks, but this isn't Dark Souls. You'll have to be aware of your stamina bar, but you won't be punished too severely, as light attacks will restore stamina with every hit that lands. Enemies now have their own defense bar, which can knock them down, making them ready for a big Norse boot of justice, and this stun system seems integral to managing larger brawls. Other active abilities can also help even the odds, including a flurry of throwing axes, multi-shot arrows that will put Legolas to shame, and a powerful rush and bash that's pure ramming speed personified. Number 9. Loot is more streamlined. Now, before you start worrying that streamlined means less of, there's more to the story. One of the biggest changes from the Odyssey and Origins formula is the removal of the loot boxes and random gear seen throughout the prior games. No longer will you be sifting through fallen foes, picking up 17 types of the same spear with slightly different bonus numbers. In Valhalla, weapons and gear are unique, named items found in specific parts of the map, designed to be valued pieces that stay with you throughout the game, with extensive upgrade options. This is fantastic news for anyone who felt bogged down by the inventory management of the previous 2 titles, and better yet, it could also mean we'll see less unsavory microtransactions promising god-tier gear that fast-tracks you through the game, Ubisoft. Less loot boxes and stat balancing means more time to smash skulls, and after all, isn't that what Viking life is all about? Number 8. Settlement building. Look, Viking life is more than just smashing skulls, alright? Whoever just told you that is clearly a big idiot. Yes, they can get a bit disembowelly, but it's for the greater cause, finding a nice place to call home for their family. Settlement building is clearly set to play a big role in Valhalla, expanding on previous games' attempts at hometown renovation. Finding your new home in the verdant lands of England will be the driving motivation for Eivor's clan, with the major story arcs beginning and ending at your homestead, encouraging frequent visits back to your growing community. Upgrades like barracks, blacksmiths, and even tattoo parlors will provide gameplay benefits, but your towns will also grow and change depending on story decisions too. Forging alliances through means such as political weddings will only strengthen your position in this land of opportunity. It's unclear yet whether there will be a settlement defense system like in Revelations, but you'll definitely be going on the attack to find new settlements, and there's only one truly Viking way to do that. Number 7. Raiding and pillaging. Alright, we're back on the skull smashing again. Old habits, don't judge us. Settlement management isn't all passive budget balancing and planning applications. Raiding is vital for establishing new homes and keeping your existing ones well supplied. There are actually two types of these attacks, raids and assaults. Raids are smaller-scale guerrilla warfare strikes on poorly defended communities. You can approach these stealthily, it is still Assassin's Creed after all, or you can go loud and proud, sounding the horn and summoning your party vote of rowdy troublemakers, who will then help you kill the guards, set fire to everything in sight, kick down doors in search of loot, and presumably keep the battle chants going. England! Oh, no, wait, wrong team. Wrong team. The assaults will be grander, almost siege-like experiences on heavily fortified castles. These will likely be the big story moments, and from preview footage it'll be an impressive spectacle of guts, gore, and glory. The hail of arrows, the flaming longboat, the battering ram breaching the gate, culminating in a final showdown with a big angry bloke and his not-so-friendly dog. It's beautiful, in a savage kind of way. Number 6. Welcome to the British Isles. We get it, open world fatigue is a very real issue in recent years, and Ubisoft are prime culprits for this oversaturating the market. But there's still plenty to be said for getting lost in the wonder of discovery, exploring a vast, beautifully crafted landscape, and Valhalla's stunning depiction of 9th century Britain is happy to indulge your curiosity. This side of the North Sea has already been partially revealed, featuring 4 major English kingdoms: Wessex, Northumbria, East Anglia, and Mercia. With that comes some familiar locations, places like Jorvik, aka York, Northwick, aka Norwich, and Lincoln, aka Stoke-on-Trent. Sorry, no, obviously that's just, that's Lincoln, isn't it? Some of these might not be raidable. The story could lead to unexpected alliances with Anglo-Saxon rulers and even rivalries with fellow Norse clans, such as the feud seen earlier with a rogue Dane called Rude. A rude feud, if you will. Sorry. You can explore on horseback or via longboat on the many waterways across the land, and we haven't even seen any of Norway yet. And if you're worried the world will get all Ubisofted up with map markers, well, you might be surprised. Number 5. There are no side quests. That's what narrative director Darby McDevitt claims, and it's a bold statement. Now, before we get carried away, obviously there will be additional content aside from the main story. Surely the definition of a side quest, but what McDevitt meant is that there won't be traditional local quest givers. This is because it made no sense for a Viking invader to be freely wandering the lands they've invaded, asking random citizens if they need help harvesting crops 5 minutes after burning down their grain stores. As such, the extracurricular activities will either be focusing around your own settlements, or you'll have to go out and discover them on your own, encouraging a more natural form of exploration and avoiding the checklist approach that so frequently clutters your UI. These activities are pretty varied. There are caches of wealth gained from raiding, or unique boss fights in the wild, along with more chilled Viking pastimes like stacking cairn rock formations, solving rune puzzles at pagan landmarks, or simply getting piss drunk with your buddies and trying not to fall over. Well, when in Britain. Most importantly, you can engage in the ancient art of flighting, a verbal exchange of insults in poetic form, which, as literally everyone on the internet has pointed out, are basically Viking rap battles. Number 4. You can customize your EIVOR. Assassin's Creed usually prefers a clearly defined protagonist, so it's surprising to see proper appearance customization for your lead character EIVOR, a first for the series. You'll be able to pick EIVOR's hair, tattoos, and war paint, some tied to settlement upgrades like the tattoo parlor. A female character option is again available, but this time male and female EIVOR are interchangeable, with both characters being considered canon in the storyline. In fact, you can swap between genders at will throughout the game. This impressive shape-shifting power will likely be explained in-game by some animus mumbo-jumbo, but we're just happy the option is there. Plus, while there won't be a standard multiplayer mode, you will be able to customize your own separate Viking mercenary for your friends to recruit as an AI helper in their own world. Because every little helps. Strength in numbers. Those who raid together stayed together, or... Okay, let's move on. Number 3. Historical accuracy. Yeah, while the previous game had you running around fighting Medusas, Minotaurs, and Cyclopses, Assassin's Creed has always tried to maintain its own level of historical accuracy amongst the more outlandish events. Valhalla promises a more grounded setting than the mythological medley of Odyssey, and naturally, the developers have an editorial research unit to help maintain some authenticity in their world building. One historian on the team, Thierry Noël, talked on Ubisoft's blog site about the challenges faced to get an accurate depiction of these dark ages. There were plenty of reports on the Anglo-Saxon side, painting an obviously negative portrayal of their Scandinavian invaders. The Norse settlers left behind very few texts, however, so research was guided by a mix of archaeological evidence pointing to early settlements and Viking sagas and myths that were told through oral traditions. Noël also spoke about how Norse society and culture was pretty fair in the treatment of women, and that fireside tales often spoke of tough female characters, which more than justifies the female EIVOR's equal billing in the story. Let's just hope, given recent events, that some of the Ubisoft execs are taking note of a society from literally 1,000 years ago, and we see some actual positive change, but that's a topic for a much more serious video, and for now, we'll stick to simply talking about silly Viking assassins. Number 2. Stealth gameplay. While the focus has undoubtedly been on the brash, in-your-face combat, Valhalla hasn't forgotten about its sneakier roots. Stealth seems like it's been refined into a purer experience, reminiscent of the earlier games. The crowd-blending technique makes a comeback, at least in certain areas. EIVOR isn't too popular with the locals, what with all the raiding, so he or she can pop that hood up and shuffle into otherwise restricted areas if they find the right group to mingle with. You can also use various activities to stay undetected, like making bread if you're going for that Lockdown 2020 vibe. Your cloak also reduces the distance enemies will spot you, and another minor detail is that their cone of vision is tied to their head, meaning if they look over their shoulder, they will see you. Scouting is slightly different too. You still have your magic bird, a raven this time naturally, but this only helps to get an overview of the area. To properly mark targets, you'll need to use the shorter range Odin's Sight, an eagle vision style pulse that tracks nearby hostiles and points of interest. You'll still have the series staples like skulking through long grass like a demented Norse Pokemon, with some foliage even found on rooftops, though shooting your bow from these stalking zones will still get you spotted. So many details have gone into stealth to keep it relevant, and it's great to see the game bring back popular elements from older games. Best of all though, number 1. One-hit assassinations are back. Like, properly back! No more recoiling off an unaware enemy like his armor's made of bouncy castle plating. This has been one of the biggest points of contention for fans since the New Age titles introduced leveled enemies, many of whom couldn't be killed outright by a stealthy assassination. You know, that iconic aspect the series is literally built around. Well, the hidden blade's back after being a bit too hidden in Odyssey, i.e. not there at all, and while you will still find stronger enemies, certain skill upgrades will grant you the ability to insta-kill almost anyone, requiring you to nail a short quicktime event to bring down tougher victims. The tougher the enemy, the narrower that bar will be, though your power level and skills can make that process easier. There might be a few major bosses or giant beasties that are immune to your pointy charms, but we know Mr. Rude Dude from earlier is able to be stealth killed if approached in the right way. Another pleasing return is the hay bale assassination, which had quietly vanished in recent years, and that is very joyous news indeed. I mean, if you can't jump 300 foot into a tiny hay cart and then instantly pull a guard in with you for some hanky-panky fun times, then is it really even Assassin's Creed anymore? We don't think so. And that's all the details we've learned about Assassin's Creed Valhalla so far, though it's far from everything. Let us know in the comments what you're most excited to see in this bloody Viking tour of England. You can follow myself and TripleJump on Twitter here, and while you're at it, why not support the things you enjoy by having a look at our Patreon. Finally, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Ben from TripleJump, and thanks for watching.